It's playing Mario Kart. This is not racing. You are boosting past, then you run out of battery the next straight. They boost past you again. For me, it's just a joke. Those are the exact words of four-time Formula One World Champion Max Verstappen, not after a bad race, not after a mechanical failure, but after the Chinese Grand Prix, the second race of the 2026 season. As reported by Sky Sports F1, that quote tells you everything you need to know about where we are in Formula One right now. The sport has undergone arguably its biggest regulation overhaul in history, and the driver, widely regarded as the best on the grid, does not just dislike it, he is openly questioning his future in the sport because of it. What actually changed in 2026 and why it matters? To understand why Verstappen's frustration has reached this level, you need to understand exactly what Formula One changed for 2026, because this was not a minor update. According to FIA technical documentation and Formula1.com's official regulation analysis, 2026 introduced simultaneous overhauls to both the chassis and the power unit, a combination the sport has never attempted at the same time. The most significant change is the power unit architecture. As confirmed by the FIA's 2026 technical regulations, F1 engines now operate on a 50-50 split between internal combustion and electrical power. To put that in context, under the previous hybrid-era rules used from 2014 to 2025, the electrical component contributed roughly 20% of total power. That figure has now tripled. What this means on track is that battery management, how and when a driver deploys electrical energy, has become a primary racing variable. Drivers now carry power boost systems they can activate around a lap at the push of a button, as documented in the FIA's 2026 sporting regulations. The result, as Charles Leclerc described it to Sky Sports F1, is a yo-yo effect, cars swapping positions repeatedly on straights as their battery levels rise and fall. Combine that with entirely new chassis regulations, and you have a fundamentally different Formula One car to anything that existed before. That is the battlefield on which this season is being fought. A criticism 2 years in the making. What makes Verstappen's position uniquely credible is that his skepticism of these rules did not begin in 2026. It began in 2023. As reported by motorsport.com following his Austrian Grand Prix victory that year, Verstappen said, "26 is not that far away." And at the moment, to me, it looks very bad from all the numbers and what I see from the data already. So it's not something I'm very excited about at the moment. Nobody listened, and Verstappen has not forgotten that. Speaking after the Chinese Grand Prix, he stated, "They should have listened already. In 23 to already see this coming." Unfortunately, a little bit, maybe it's a lesson for the future that this would never happen again. His criticism of the 2026 cars has been consistent and specific across every media session. At Bahrain preseason testing, as reported by Sky Sports F1, he said, "The car looks great, honestly. The proportion of the car looks good, I think. That's not the problem. It's just everything else that is a bit, for me, anti-racing." After Australia, that language intensified. He told reporters the new driving experience felt like Formula E on steroids, a reference to the electric series where energy management is the primary performance tool. After China came the Mario Kart quote you heard at the start of this video. And crucially, in an interview with PlanetF1.com ahead of Miami, Verstappen escalated further. "Something has to change. I would choose to have the V10 or V8 engines brought back." At Suzuka, after qualifying 11th, his worst qualifying result in years, Verstappen spoke to the BBC and made his most pointed statement yet. "I'm not even frustrated anymore. I'm beyond that. I don't know the right word in English for it. I don't know what to make of it, to be honest." He told reporters he had things to figure out in terms of his future in Formula One. The broader driver revolt. It would be easy to frame this as one driver being difficult. The data says otherwise. Verstappen himself pointed this out in a post-race interview covered by motorsport.com. "I think I speak for most of the drivers. Some, of course, will say it's great because they are winning races. But if you just speak to most of the drivers, it's not what we like." McLaren's Lando Norris, speaking to Sky Sports F1 after the Australian Grand Prix, described the opening race as too chaotic and raised safety concerns about the constant position changes at high speed. Aston Martin's Fernando Alonso told media the new cars were painful to drive, as reported by motorsport.com. And Lewis Hamilton, speaking to Ferrari's official media channel, suggested that Formula One's decision-makers should have been more involved in discussions ahead of the 2026 campaign. The common thread across all of these complaints from 4 different drivers across 4 different teams is the reduction in what drivers can actually do through raw skill. The concern is not speed. These cars are faster than Formula E by a significant margin. The concern is that battery deployment, not racecraft, is now determining the outcome of wheel-to-wheel battles. Evolution, not revolution, the governing body's position. Formula One's governing body has not been silent. The FIA announced a package of regulation refinements ahead of the Miami Grand Prix, confirmed via their official communications, primarily addressing energy management protocols and safety procedures at race starts and in wet conditions. FIA single-seater director Nicholas Toumbazis addressed the criticism directly in an interview produced by the FIA. He said, "I think it's important to know that no one believed the patient, our sport, was in intensive care. Maybe the patient needs to exercise a bit more and eat a couple of apples a day and improve and take some vitamins. That's what we've been acting on. It's an evolution, it's not a revolution. We fundamentally believe we've got a good package, and it's normal to have to make adjustments." Toumbazis also contextualized the challenge facing F1's regulators. He explained, as reported by NBC Sports, "We have some big automotive companies spending millions and maybe billions to be in the sport, and it's important to hear their voice. They want to be relevant to their products that they have on the road. And additionally, we rely on many millions of fans around the world who also want to see exciting races." In a significant development reported by PlanetF1.com just days ago, the FIA confirmed that the strict 50-50 power split will be adjusted for the 2027 season, with a shift toward 55-45 or potentially 6-0-40 inches favor of combustion power. Verstappen responded to this via Autosport, saying, "We simply need to move away from that 55-45 split. We need to go back towards how it was under the previous hybrid regulations, at the very least. If you get back to 75% or 80% combustion engine, that would already help a lot." The competitive reality at Red Bull. Beyond the philosophical debate about racing, there is a concrete sporting reality to address. Red Bull Racing is competing with its own in-house power unit, the Ford-partnered DM1 engine, for the first time in 2026. As documented by Formula1.com's team analysis, this is a significant engineering undertaking, and the early results suggest the team is currently off the pace set by Mercedes and Ferrari. Verstappen has been clear that his criticism of the rules is not tied to Red Bull's competitive position. As reported by motorsport.com after the Australian Grand Prix, he said, "I'm very negative about the rules, but I do feel really proud of the team and the engine side as well. The guys really have done an amazing job, so from that side, I'm very happy to be working with them." What is not in doubt is that Ford has confirmed talks with Verstappen about a future Le Mans 24 Hours program, as stated by Ford racing boss Mark Rushbrook at the WEC round in Spa. Rushbrook told Sportscar 365, "We would love to see that. A lot of things need to align for that to happen, but that would of course be incredible for us, for the sport." Verstappen has long expressed his desire to race at Le Mans, and Ford's hypercar program targets WEC competition from 2027 onward. The 2026 season is therefore shaping up as a defining moment not just for Verstappen's personal satisfaction, but for what kind of Formula One the sport wants to be as it moves deeper into this new era. What we are witnessing in 2026 is a genuine crossroads for Formula One. The governing body has introduced its most ambitious technical overhaul in decades, simultaneously changing the chassis, the power unit, and the fundamental balance of skills required to win. The FIA has acknowledged that adjustments are needed and has committed to a revised power split from 2027. But the voice that carries most weight in this debate, Max Verstappen, a 4-time world champion, and the most scrutinized driver of his generation remains unconvinced that the changes go far enough. His request is straightforward and on the record: return meaningful power to the combustion engine, reduce the dominance of battery management, and restore what he calls proper Formula One on steroids. Whether the sport responds quickly enough to satisfy its most dominant driver of the modern era remains the central storyline of this 2026 season.